Hey Sagittarius, welcome to your June 2019 Blue Jay Calls General Tarot Read. That's right, General Tarot Read. So take what applies to you finding your inner balance, leave the rest behind you. It's not for you, it's not a message for you. So here we go. I'm not in my usual spot, so I laid out the cards and we'll just go through and tell the story right now. So your current energy is the Queen of Wands. And the Queen of Wands is all about being adaptable and sympathetic. And underlying this Queen of Wands energy is your current for June. We see the Six of Swords. So you've created a victory, you've had some toil, and you've had success, but you've had to also sail away from some things. And you can see this victory doesn't come with a huge amount of success, but your adaptability and sympathetic nature either arose out of this situation, or you get to this place of feeling like a queen and in your power as a result of this situation. Let's see what else is underneath this. So, the Magician is underneath this victory and moving towards this Queen of Wands situation. So for whatever it is, it's something that you can figure out yourself. It's something that you have the power to do or change or move forward on. And this is an internal situation. This could be an external situation as too. We have the Two of Pentacles, which is all about balance, but there's a lot of work associated with it. You might not get to the end goal you expect. It'll be a lot of work and some juggling. So in looking at this adaptable and sympathetic situation where there's a victory, the Magician's involved, your own magic, but there's some level of like balance and work. And how does this current energy connect to what's coming in? So it seems like there's something you have to knock off. What's coming in is some King of Swords energy, so that's about aggressive and assertiveness and basically cutting things off. It may be cutting off this situation with your Magician power, and that creates the victory that moves you into your queenly power, or it could be cutting off something else to move forward. Let's see what happens next. So, what's coming in is the Emperor in reverse. So the Emperor in reverse is like outside of their power, not really in the high Emperor seat. They may be acting from like a non-high, higher dimensional self perspective. So, yeah, underneath this Emperor is the Ten of Cups. The Ten of Cups as a foundation shows solid, and it's confusing to me as to why the Emperor threw out upside down. Normally the Emperor is, I don't even read reversals, so with the Emperor not being in his power, I wasn't sure how this impacted the Ten of Cups situation, so I asked, what's about, how can we get the Emperor in reverse in the Ten of Cups? So we have the Queen of Cups, which is about emotion and generosity, and the Nine of Swords. So there might have been some emotional situation that got cut off. The Page of Pentacles is about work and messages related to that, generosity and such. So there may have been some message that came in that caused a problem, got you in your emotions. And instead of in this Ten of Cups situation you were dreaming of, it really turns out this Emperor's not the Emperor, they're just some douche who's in reverse and not really helpful for you at all, and not the Ten of Cups you expected. So I asked about how this Ten of Cups relates to the Emperor, and I got the Death card, the Ten of Swords. So there's a death that happened. It's emotional, highly emotional. This is a big death. And it may have been something that you thought was foundational. So what you thought was a solid foundation turned out to be a death, and that's where this Emperor in reverse character comes in. So going backwards, what's coming in, this current energy might be related to getting ready to cut off this Emperor, creating this death situation, even though it felt like a Ten of Cups to you. This again could be an internal thought, it could be an external thing. So with the Page of Pentacles, what do we do after that, after this death situation? So going inside, seeking that inner wisdom. The Queen of Swords is about charm and truth and cutting things off. So cutting that off, seeking that inner wisdom, really taking your time to come to a conclusion before you cut something off, will move you to a victory. And again, we saw a victory in your current energy with that Six of Swords, although it's looking like it's going to be a hard-fought battle with some emotions. And you're going to have to let go of the Ten of Cups, which is tough. But that Emperor in reverse is not a character you want to be around. So what's unknown to this situation moving along from the Hermit? We got the Seven of Wands. So courage, strength, gathering courage and strength. And then we got this sneaky person with an unstable effort underneath this Seven of Wands. So really use your discernment that you gained as the Hermit. When this unknown situation arrives, it may be somebody who appears really, really strong, but they're really a sneaky motherfucker underneath it all, and you don't want to mess with them. Because ultimately you're going to have to walk away from them. The other way to look at this is that by using your hermit powers to gather the insight, strength, and wisdom you need, you can address the situation from a victory perspective instead of an unstable perspective. But either way, walking away from this reverse emperor situation seems to be the recommendation. Walking away from the Eight of Cups, whether they're a sneaky motherfucker or whether they have strength and courage, it's really kind of irrelevant. You're ultimately going to wind up walking away from it, from your inner wisdom and guidance, and that reverse emperor is going to be the one that creates that hassle. But in moving away, you still have the Nine of Cups here. So that's pretty awesome. And what's unknown about that Nine of Cups is it's underlying the Lovers. So the Lovers can be external or internal. Loving yourself first is always important. Balancing your masculine and feminine energies gets you into that higher dimensional state. You're identified with your fifth dimensional self, if you will. So being in balance is really important. And the Lovers also could relate to proposals coming in. The Ten of Pentacles is about proposals and material gains and foundation. So there might be a solid proposal coming in related to a love situation. You might have a new way of doing things yourself related to that. And on the other side of the Lovers is the Queen of Pentacles. So charming, truthful, a good solid creator. Moving up from the Lovers, and again, this is in the unknown column. What's unknown column is there's a perfected work happening. So as you're dealing with letting go of this situation, this reverse emperor, moving into a Nine of Cups foundation, you may find new love for yourself and come up with new ideas and new ways of being charming and truthful, and moving towards a perfected work out of love for yourself, gathering the strength and courage you need to ultimately act quickly as the Knight of Swords and move towards a solid foundation with the Nine of Pentacles. You can see a lot of happiness there. So really getting yourself in balance. You're going to have to give up something maybe. This may be an old thought pattern or an old way of doing some things, but you're going to move from the Ten of Cups to the Nine of Cups with some sadness and remorse, but ultimately you're going to gather your strength and be in a solid foundation in a state of perfected work. What's the final outcome for all this if it all remains the same? The Knight of Pentacles came up. Heavy, dull, methodical energy. So you may find yourself like stuck in the middle of a plan or working through inner work situations, love, relationships, whatever it might be. A heavy, dull, methodical energy. So there's work ahead for whatever this situation is. But remember, the Nine of Cups and the Nine of Pentacles are sort of involved in this as what's coming in and what's unknown. I then drew as clarification for this Knight of Pentacles, Temperance. So this heavy, dull, methodical energy has an underlying nature of being in your balance while you're doing it. It may be heavy, dull, methodical, but most of life is actually. Most of life isn't those like super high points. If it is, you're going to have a crash at some point in time. So being temperate, accepting the heavy, dull, methodical work is the advice from the Hierophant and the wise upper realms, if you will. Like, work is work. Before enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. Just with a different level of happiness associated to it. And then related to this Temperance and Hierophant, there is this Ace of Swords that shows up, and we had a lot of swords previously in our current energy and what's coming in. So have no doubt ahead, you're going to be cutting something off, whether it's an old thought pattern, situations outside of yourself, whatever it might be. There's something that's going to be cut off based on wise wisdom and temperance and a commitment to doing the work and staying in your power. This will turn you into an unshakable force, this cutoff, and you can see there's a battle. This person's been through a battle, but they're now this unshakable force, and that will open you up to the world. On the bottom of the deck is the Seven of Pentacles, which is all about, or the Eight of Pentacles, excuse me. So there's nitpicking and controlling that underlies this situation, and that may be the Emperor in reverse we encountered for what's coming in. So somebody nitpicking and controlling, maybe coming in external to you, creating a situation that has to end. and you know you're going to have to cut it off, but it's going to give you strength and open you up to the energies of the world, and move you towards, again, a more balanced place. The world, the temperance card, the high priestess are all associated with that path of mildness. Sagittarius, I hope you have a great June, and I hope whatever this situation is that you have to cut off, internal or external to you, winds up being good, and you can accept the heavy, dull, methodical work that's associated with it, as well as the temperate path, while cautioning yourself not to be too nitpicky and controlling, from the bottom of the deck. That seems like a good month ahead with some challenges, but I hope it's great for you, Sagittarius.